in the month of September, there are three key themes that are at play that are going to assist us on our ascension journey and will also help us to expand into the highest expression of our consciousness. This is really an exciting time for humanity, and the fact that we are in a 9 year, because 2025 equals a nine, and we're in the 9 month, which means that 999 portal is on its way. And nine is such a pivotal point in our journey. And I'm going to share more about this very, very soon in this video. If you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Carolyn Marie Yakupich. Remember to hit that subscribe button so that we can stay connected, and also to like this video so that it can help to get out to more people. Now, I am feeling like an entirely shift in energy from August to September. It was like a complete stop and go energy. We are on September 2nd right now as I'm making this video. This video applies throughout the entire month of September, and it also will continue to apply through the rest of 2025, considering we are in this 9 year. So some of these themes that I'm touching on, they are all relating to this nine frequency. Now, all of this energy that we are going to experience in this month is going to be so massive. It's like waves of ascension, waves of cosmic reset at play. We have so many points of shifts and transmissions and transformations that are happening throughout this month. So I'm going to share a little bit about that first, and then I'll come right into these three key themes that you're going to want to be paying attention to in your own life, because this is going to help you to move through these shifts with more grace and more ease. So we have this, like I said, this frequency of the nine, which this is where I'm going to be going with these three key themes. Then we also have eclipse season. We are in the eclipse season now. We're in the pre-wave of the first eclipse. The first eclipse will happen on September 7th, and this eclipse is going to be in Pisces. So an eclipse, just as a little recap, is a metaphor for a door. And if you think of a door, what do? We open and we close a door, right? It's like you open the door and you go through the door to get into one room, and that room might have a specific type of energy. And then when you close the door, you leave that room that had a different type of energy, right? Because everything is energy. And we can specifically feel that when we walk into our kitchen versus when we walk into our living room, right? Our kitchen has more of like the homey feel of making food, coming together. And then when we come into the living room, this might be the space where we're relaxing more and chilling out and watching TV or being with family in a different way, right? So kitchen is like more preparatory energy, right? So all of these different rooms, when we go through doors, will shift in energetics. So this is the metaphor when it comes to an eclipse, right? So it is a door. It's a door of consciousness. So eclipse represent opening the door, leaving behind that old consciousness, walking through the door, and then going into that new state of consciousness as you close the door on the old consciousness. Okay, so it's opening and closing of doors. And then it usually is relating around the themes of what these particular eclipses are in. So the signs that they are in. So the first one is in Pisces. That is on September 7th. I will go on into a deep dive more in other videos around the eclipses. And then the second eclipse happens 2 weeks later on September 21st, and that one will be in Virgo. So just a little bit of touch on that. Pisces is your intuition. It's removing the illusion of everything. Okay, so dismantling illusion, coming into the purity of your intuition, of your spiritual self. It is one of the most spiritual signs in the zodiac. So really owning in on your own spiritual practices, on your own spiritual connection, and then coming into Virgo. Virgo is the energy of service. It is from the soul service to humanity, right? Being in alignment with our soul and serving it is also about our own structures that we have within our own day-to-day life. So, what kind of routines do we have? What kind of practices do we have that are helping to support our soul so that we may be in service, right? So, remember, these eclipses are all about dismantling the old, the things that are in the way from being in the highest alignment of these energies, and really coming in to our power and into our center so that we can be a clear conduit for that expression of our highest self. So, that is so much energy already coming in, right? So we're in this pre-wave, which was 2 weeks leading up to the first eclipse on September 7th. Then we're going to be working with those themes of Pisces for that 2 weeks. And it's not just 2 weeks, it is a 6 month period of time from one eclipse until the next eclipse season. So for this full 6 months forward, we're going to really be working with this energy and with the dismantling. Sometimes we can have an experience where within the eclipse period, it just happens. Like it all just starts to rearrange itself. And this is the beauty of eclipses. I feel like because there's such a grand cosmic reset time, the universe is already rearranging everything. So there can be massive shifts that happen during the window of the eclipses. So again, 2 weeks into the wave of the first eclipse on the 7th, that is in Pisces, working deeply with those themes and the awareness of those themes for 2 weeks leading up to the September 21st eclipse in Virgo, and then working with that Virgo energy for that next 2 weeks really, really deeply to close off that eclipse season, which is going to take us into October. So it is really the entire month of September that we are in this eclipse portal. And I always like to remind everyone that we are the portal. We open and close portals all the time if we are aware of it or not, and we can be very intentional about that to open them and to be open to receiving, to be open to connecting into the higher multidimensional realms. And by higher, I don't mean hierarchy, I mean the states of consciousness, right? So it's like the invisible realms that we are allowing to communicate with us. So moving into this space of September, we have the eclipse seasons, we also have the fall equinox. So the equinox is a time of balance between day and night, where the night and day are of equal length. It's the change and the turning of the wheel of the year into a new season. So in the Northern Hemisphere, we are moving from from summer into fall, and then reversing it. If you are in the other hemisphere, right, in the Southern Hemisphere, you are moving into spring. So very different energies. I myself am moving into this fall equinox energy. So we're going to stick with this kind of movement right now as we're discussing what is at play in this moment in time. The key to know about this shift, right? No matter which hemisphere you're in, both of them are equal day, equal night. So it's really an acceleration of energy. We can feel it when we're going into autumn, this acceleration, going back to school. Even the fact that, no matter what age you are, you went back to school at some point in your life at this time. So there is a natural rhythm that happens even amongst like all of humanity because of this going back to school. It's felt collectively. So then you might, as an adult, be like thinking about your own routines, which is perfect because it is Virgo season. It is that time where we are working with also the Virgo eclipse and what our routines are. So very, very supportive time to really get into a refinement, which is one of these themes that I'm about to talk about for the 9 frequency for the month of September. Also, want to say that if you are moving into the spring equinox, there is that acceleration of energy. It is a time where you're starting to plant seeds. It's a time of momentum, of energy acceleration. So, regardless whether you're going into the fall or the spring, it's both equal day, equal night, bringing harmony and balance into the system through the elements, through the meridians, through the chakras. We really have an opportunity to hone in on that and to really bring ourselves into a centered state of being so that we are ready to move and accelerate with that energy. Okay, so here we are. We've got these three key themes that we are working with. So the first one is going to be completion. Okay, this is a time that number nine, right? There's a few different systems of numerology that I work with. So I'll start touching on this, where we look at nine as the end of a cycle, and then we move into a one cycle after. I also work with a numerology system where it goes up to 11, right? So 10 would be kind of the ending of that. However, it's not really based in a completion point. So I don't want that to escape you by me making it too wordy here. So let's just pull it back in because we are about to go into a 10-year or a 1 year next year. So this nine frequency has been running through the entire year of 2025. Now that we're in September, we are in a 9 month. That means on September 9th, it's going to be a triple powered energy of a 999 frequency. So, some major completions happening in our life. There are going to be patterns that you are breaking. It is like literally time to let go of those old ways of being, those old structures, those old routines that became habits. Those are ready to be released now because it's time to step into this higher service to the self, to the soul, and to humanity. So, really looking at it with self awareness, right? Looking at the areas, and you may notice that there are things happening in your life, and it's just happening naturally where and I've said this in past videos, 1 foot in the old world, 1 foot in the new world. And this is the essence of the 9 year because it's a completion point. So you're gonna experience like all of a sudden you're like in a new reality and you're operating in a way that you have always dreamed of. You are, having the structures in place, the routine that you wanted. You're getting in the groove and you're like, wow, I can't believe it. I'm on top of the world. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And then all of a sudden, the old programming comes in, but it's in it such a different way because it's not taking over. It's not fully pushing you off course because you're still on course. So this is the difference right now that we're experiencing is that some of the old stuff is coming in, but it's really residual energy that is being shed. It is really, I've said this metaphor many times about the spoke, like the wheel that's spinning, and then, all the spokes on the wheel. And I was thinking about this the other day and I saw like a bicycle, right? And it's like if you think about riding your bike as a child and you go through the mud and then all of the spokes have mud on them. And then as you're going quicker and quicker, which represents our acceleration process of ascension, right? It's like the energy is speeding up, time is speeding up, our growth is speeding up, right? And it's like doing this and it's just all the mud is just starting to like spew off. I don't, spew is such a weird word, but that's what's coming to me. So it's flicking in all directions, right? And then it's getting on our clothes and it's like, oh my God, right? So we are having the same experience within our own life when it comes to our practices, our routines, the kind of level of energy and capacity that we're able to hold for space for ourselves and both space for others, right? So you're going to notice this like expansion and contraction energy. And what I'm seeing is that it's like humanity is going through this expansion and the band is like opening like an elastic band. And then as you come back in, it's not coming all the way back in. It's not like you're collapsing into the old timeline. You're not collapsing into the old pattern. It's just coming back a little bit. And then that wheel is flicking off all the residual of that old karma. Right. So we were really in a preparatory year last year, in the year of the eight, to release the karmic patterns. So much of that was already cleaned up throughout the whole year of 2024. And now the 9 year of 2025 is like the residual being released from the 8 year. So now, as we expand our consciousness and expand our capacity to hold space for ourselves, for others, for our leadership, for what we are here to do, be, and have, we're expanding our capacity. And then all of a sudden, it's like coming back in a little bit, but not all the way. And then we expand a little bit more. And then it comes back in a little bit. So this is basically like our aura. Okay, our aura expands 9 feet in every direction when it's fully healthy. So our aura is expanding, expanding, right? And then as it contracts back in, it's not coming as far back in. And then it expands back out a little bit more and then comes back in as we move back into those old patterns to release the residual energy. Okay, so that is happening again and again throughout this year to really prepare us for the 10 year, which is also a 1 year. So the 10, interesting enough, it just flows beautifully into what I was just talking about, was moving into the aura. So in the tradition of Kundalini, the 10 is the radiant body. So our radiance is really what magnetizes everything to us. Yes, our aura projects out, our broadcasts, our vibration and our frequency. Our aura is also our protection, right? Our divine protection, and also, our boundaries, in a way that we are, allowing in only that of the highest and greatest good. Again, it takes intention, it takes awareness, and it takes a lot of spiritual etiquette to hold that, right? To hold that field of boundaries that come from the inside out. So as we're moving into this 10 year, it is really about our radiance, which expands even further beyond the auric field, and it expands universally. So it is really about us tapping into the full universal blueprint, and not just thinking up in the sky and cosmically, and then it's like, ooh, I'm floating and, I'm not grounded. No, it's like encompassing all. So even into the very deep center core of Mother Earth, and really grounding into the 5D grid of Mother Earth, and just opening into that expansion while simultaneously being very grounded and anchored and rooted in our knowingness, in our truth, and into the earth. So it's a really exciting time right now. It really, truly is. So we are going through this massive completion process to prepare us we're always in this, I don't want to say preparatory phase, because we come into an expansive state where we are fully embodied, fully in tune with God, Goddess, universe, creator, again, the nameless, the formless, omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent, right? It's like really being a full conduit, a clear energy channel for divine expression, right? And we have these experiences where it's like, oh my God, this is it. We're in it. We're in new earth. We are in the true earth, like removing the veil, lifting the veil of illusion. And this is going to be amplified again through this eclipse time, because we're moving into the Piscean energy. And it's like, okay, what other illusions are ready to be released from my life that are not serving me, so that I can be in my full capacity to be clear and receive my intuition, right? And my intuition, right? Our intuition, it's not, yes, it's like there is this flow of energy when we become this clear channel. It is within. It is within, right? Our higher self is not out here somewhere. Yes, we have all aspects of self within and without energetically. We have our energetic ka body, which is our spiritual vehicle, and we have our physical body, but they merge. Everything is in this merging point right now. And this is the energy that we're working with to really come into that unification within the self and fully anchor and root our energetics, our rainbow light body, our cosmic vehicle. So this is the time. This is the time. It is so exciting. So we are in this completion energy to prepare us for the 10 and also the 1 year of next year. So this 9 energy, remember, is going to go all the way to the end of the year. And 1 represents new beginnings, right? Planting the seed for something new. So this year is a very foundational year. Very, very foundational year. Now, the next part, right, the second theme that we're going to get into is refinement. Okay, 9 is the number of refinement. So, where in your life can you refine your, first of all, your intuition is hugely important. Do you feel your intuition in your body? Do you get a gut response, like a gut feeling? Do you receive visions? Do you see things before they happen? Do you hear a voice that gives you messages that's a very subtle voice? Do you have this inner knowing? I just know, right? We all experience our intuition differently. And 9 is all about refinement of the subtle body. And the subtle body is through which we can receive the signals, the signs, the synchronicities, the messages that are going to keep us in the most aligned path for our soul's evolution. And what is key about this refinement is that we identify how we receive the guidance. What is our strongest sense of intuition? And then really working with that through our awareness, being aware and cognizant of it, so that every time we receive the message, we fully listen in whatever way we receive it. And when we receive it and listen, then we act upon it, whatever that guidance is. And that is going to strengthen the muscle of our intuition. That is going to refine our abilities. So refinement works on so many levels, right? We have the refinement of our intuition, which is really, really big in the 9 frequency. We have also the refinement of our spiritual or energy etiquette. What does that mean? It sounds like a big thing. It means cleansing our energy field, cleansing our aura, being mindful that we are walking around with an energetic body, our electromagnetic field, our aura around us. We are not just this physical body that stops at our skin. And one way that I really like to, I guess, share what I mean by this, so you can put yourself kind of in a situation where you can feel it on a level right now. So imagine being somewhere where, you're sitting all by yourself. And then there's other people around, and then all of a sudden there's no other seats available. And this isn't like chair and chair. It's like, say, like a long bench. And then there's all these people sitting, and then now someone comes and sits right next to you. And there's just enough room for them to be right next to you. And as they sit next to you, you can feel the heat coming off of their skin or off of their clothes. You feel them. You're aware that they're in your field. You are now merging energy fields with this person. You are now in their field and they are in your field. Now you can pull the energy in from your field and bring it internally, right? To basically solidify your own field so that you're not fully picking up from their field of energy. So this is what I mean when it comes to walking around with an energy around us. When we go out, whether we go to the grocery store, whether we go out to an event, it doesn't matter. There will always be this exchange of energy that is happening that we may not be fully present or aware of. So, the invitation this month is to really start to become aware of your energy body, of your subtle body, right? The subtlety is the subtle body is where the chakras hold all their information. So, all the energy centers of our body hold all this information within our field from our past, from our present, from our future. And so, on so many levels, when we start to pay attention to our energy field, we will begin to notice when we feel off. We will begin to notice that we may have left the house feeling very energetic, very lighthearted, very joyful. And then we may have gone into another situation, an event, or, the grocery store, whatever it is, and all of a sudden our energy dips and we start feeling a different experience within ourself. So this typically is an invitation to do some energy etiquette, spiritual etiquette. So what I love to do is every morning I cleanse my energy. I cleanse my energy. I use affirmations. I use whether I smudge or I spray. I do an energy practice that completely centers me and then opens me into the expansion of my energy field. I do a connection to my guides. I do a connection to source, to creator, to God. I pull in the energy. I connect in with my higher guidance. So all of it is bringing an awareness into my day. And it is also preparing me to have a clear energetic field and also an internal idea and intention of a boundary that I'm creating with not force by any means, but it's purification, allowing in purification, allowing in wholeness, allowing in truth, allowing in love. So, really coming into this intention at the beginning of my day, and it doesn't have to be a very long practice. You can literally energetically tune yourself up in 5 minutes. So, very important to do this, and not just in the morning. So, like I said, you go out, your energy shifts, and it changes. You might want to clear when you're out. That could be a thing. You might want to clear energy in your fields. You might want to clear when you get back home. But just starting to bring more awareness to how you feel energetically throughout your day and notice, am I carrying some energy of someone else's? Because there are entity attachments. It's nothing to be fearful of or afraid, and like they're never going to go away, but sometimes they attach and link into us when our energy isn't very strong and we don't have a strong foundation. So there are ways to clear these energies, to clear these entities, and really it is about bringing more awareness. Subtle energy is all about awareness, right? So this refinement of these practices are really going to help us through the month of September and all the way through the rest of 2025, so that as we establish this strong foundation of energetic practices, we are ready to go, right? It's like a tune-up. It's a tune-up for our energy system, and it is also, to go one step deeper before I forget, let me finish this off here. Making sure to cleanse your energetics before bed so that you go into the sleep, into that, dream state, into the time when your body is recalibrating itself and healing with a clean slate. So I clear all energies, entities, programs, patterns, behaviors, beliefs, imprints, and implants that are not mine. I release these now from my physical, mental, emotional, and energetic bodies and send them back to source to be transmuted into pure light consciousness. That's one of the affirmations I use very frequently. It is very powerful. You can use any affirmation, right? And it doesn't have to be that long either. Really, whatever is in resonance. This is the time of truly sovereignty and divinity and divine self-expression, right? I know self sounds like separate, like meaning individual, right? But it's like we all have this unique divine expression. This is what I mean by this. So you will find ways that work for you that might not be exactly in resonance with what I do. These are all simply suggestions. So use your discernment and trust your inner guidance. Trust what you're being nudged to do. Trust what you're being, called to create and to birth through your own unique divine expression, because that is meant for you. That is your unique medicine. That is your gift, right? So refinement. Refinement is the second theme that we have moving through this September month and onward into the rest of 2025. The third theme that we are working with is mastery over mystery. So this is really about deeper awareness that we are masterful beings, that life is not a mystery. Yes, we will be in spaces of the unknown where we have no clue. This is the nature of life right now. I don't know what's next. I say this all the time. I hear so many around me. I don't know what's next. I don't know what's next. However, when we can release the control or manipulation or the idea that we need to know and simply relax into this now present moment, we will receive exactly what we need for the next step. And that's all that really matters, is that next step. So moving into this space of mastery requires presence. Presence is being fully aware in this moment. And it's being total in your energy. That means, another affirmation I love using, I call back my energy from every space, every place, every timeline, and every dimension, and I bring my full presence into this now moment. That is part of my morning practice. And it happens throughout the day when I need to use it again, because sometimes energy starts becoming scattered. And that's when it's time to call the energy back in. I've had this experience before, maybe you can relate to it, where I visited a location and I've had a very powerful experience at this location, or, an interaction with somebody that was very memorable. And I will have a time and space later, in my life where all of a sudden I'm reliving that in this moment, in the future, right? So I've left this behind and now I'm suddenly back in this location with that person or by myself, whatever that experience was, and I'm feeling those feelings and I'm in the past. Now that tells me that I've left a part of my soul hanging out in that location. And because being in the present moment is what attracts magnetically everything to us in the most aligned way, it's an invitation to pull and call back our energy from that past experience. That's not to say that we're letting go of memories that we're never going to be able to have, like, oh, I love that feeling. And it's a different experience being in it in the future and feeling like you're literally astrally projecting yourself there and traveling to that space and time again and feeling and just really involved in that experience versus, just sharing about the experience, having the memory and feeling it and being whatever the emotions are around it, feeling them, versus just really, it's like having the embodied experience of it and knowing that because you're being pulled back to that location, there either A is an invitation for you to go back to that location physically or to simply call back your energy energetically, right? Energetically, right? So etherically, calling back your energy and also asking that whatever is left there that is for you, that are keys and codes for your own ascension process, to come with you, and pull into your soul fragmentation, into the wholeness of who you are in this now moment. So it really is this mastery energy that we are moving into. And mastery comes from presence. It comes from being, again, a clean slate. And I really, it's so interesting being in an industry of, let's just say, like labels, right? It's like I've struggled so much with labels in my life. And I think it's because, and niching, because we are so multidimensional, right? And some people may have a path where it's like, nope, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is it. And that is their truth, and that's great. For me, I was reflecting on this today and I'm like, okay, I'm a healer, I'm a teacher, I'm a coach, I'm a mentor, I'm into sacred feminine, and I'm into multidimensional. I channel the galactics, I'm into light language. I could call myself this or that, like what am I? And I remember as a child, like teenager going through this, and I was going through an identity crisis of being like, I like dressing up in grunge clothing, like full on grunge. And then I was like in the baby doll era, and then like, just like raver and baby doll. And then it was like all over the place. And I'm like, who am I? So I've always had this. And if you've known me for a long time, I've also taken on a few different spiritual names in my life. Now I've returned to the essence of Carolyn Marie Yakupich, which is my given name at birth, and even my business names have changed over the years. And I think this is part of the natural ebb and flow, right, of our evolution, and that we are all of it. Right? So to be masterful, this is where I'm going with this about being in the present moment. It's this clean slate of like non-identification. Because when we are in that presence, we are linked and connected right into source energy. We are connected in to our highest expression of who we are, our cosmic nature. We are merging and unifying the feminine and the masculine within, and they are working in harmony. We are a unique expression of God, goddess, divinity. All of it is here now in this present moment because we are open to it, right? So, mastery over mystery. Nothing, nothing, I repeat, nothing is happening to you. Everything is happening for you. And to be masterful is to recognize that whatever we are seeing outside of ourselves is within. So there is always an invitation to shift, to change, to transform if there is something that we do not like that we are seeing on the outside. And that requires deeper introspection, deeper reflection, deeper self awareness, which will bring us into that state of self mastery. So, just to recap these three themes, the first one is completion, the second one is refinement, and the third one is self mastery. So, I'm wishing I'm blessing the energy of the most amazing September month for you as you move through these spaces of inner transformation, and really, really excited to see what unfolds through this eclipse window and these, doorways opening and closing in our lives. So please feel free to comment below if you've had any experiences that are relatable to anything that I've shared about. If there's anything that you want to share, I'd love to hear from you. And remember again to subscribe, like this video, and share. It helps my channel, and I appreciate you being here with me so much. Until next time, I will see you very soon.